Do you need to go live? Well, you know why. Because you need to be seen as an authority. You need to be consistent so people get in the habit of seeing you and need to be answering questions. And you need to turn on Zoom. My apologies, people. There we go. There. So, and getting people to know, like, and trust you. So let's look at what we looked at previously. We talked about how your mindset can stop you from being seen, how having a dedicated studio space makes it easier to broadcast, how you have to look at ambient light around in your studio space and correct for it, and how you have to test your ambient sound in your studio space and do certain things like control the acoustics of your studio space using acoustical panel, which is actually quite reasonably priced at Amazon. And we went in depth on what microphone to use for good quality sound, because that is the most important. And we looked at internal and external webcams and the pros and cons of that. So next week I will have the link for the membership. You can go in and check out any of those previous episodes. And we are in the middle of talking about video, because there is 3 components for a studio setup. There's audio, light, and video. And we've already talked about audio. We're going to talk about video next. And so we talked last week about the webcams, and this week we're going to be talking about the other choices you can have for good quality video, which is the same as live streaming if you use the broadcasting live streaming app. So for the internet, you need at least good quality HD of 1080p or 1920 full HD. YouTube recommends 1920 by 1080 pixels or full HD, but they can recommend as much as they like, because 1080 by 720 is just fine when you put it up onto YouTube. It just depends what you're doing. If you're showing off your video skills, obviously you want to make it the best, but 4K or 8K will be the standard in the future. But for now, 1080 by 720 high definition is still used widely. And in fact, because it is used widely, it is used in TV as well as YouTube. And so you want to make sure that you don't upgrade your broadcast for TV channels, for example, too much, or there will be people who cannot watch it if they have an earlier HD channel. HDMI is the link that you get for these TVs that have built-in streaming. Anyway, we'll talk about TV another time. But my point is that 1080 by 720p is just fine. Right now I'm recording at 1920 by 1080 at 30 FPS, which is frames per second, and that is fine. And so we're going to look at today how to get good video other than with your webcam. We looked at obviously the interior webcams, externally webcam, which is what I'm using. We'll look at smartphones. We'll look at DSLR camera. We won't be looking at the GoPro because I don't have one, and but we will, of course, everybody knows what a GoPro is, but we will be looking at how to use your smartphone. So today we're going to look first at DSLR camera setup. You put it on a camera facing you. You need a capture card that can convert the HDMI from camera and process it into a stream compatible to a USB connection to the computer. And neither one of us really cares as long as it works. So, and you follow the instructions. So you need to, if you're going to use a DSLR, you need a mini HDMI cable, which is similar to your HDMI input that you put into your TV, and then it goes into this capture card, which converts it and puts it through the USB output to the computer. So if you're interested in trying DSLR camera, Premier Gal is great. Turn your DSLR into a pro webcam recording that she does. She does lots of recordings, and it is located on YouTube. You just search for that, and we'll just have a quick look at it, and then we'll go on and have a quick look at what I have. Well, I don't use it, but what I have. So Premiere, oh, sorry, let me change to my screen. That would help. Premiere gal, who that's not her, but she's still
weren't that great, but with the proper gear, you can convert your high quality cameras and stream to your favorite platforms. Heck, even some streamers will stream their entire production, even if that's not going to live online forever, and then they will edit it down later on. You can use professional live stream studios like Riverside that lets you record and stream to multiple platforms at once. It can record your camera angles as well as your screen in 4K. You can edit the videos, of course, inside of Riverside, but better yet, you can send it to Premiere Pro to do some more customization. Now, I'll talk about the setup of your studio and editing later on. For now, let's talk about the gear you need to get a professional looking stream. So the cool thing about my live stream setup is that I use the exact same setup that I use to record my normal YouTube videos that I'm recording right now here in my studio. The only difference is that I need this little piece of gear here. It's called a capture card. And this thing will send the HDMI signal from my Canon EOS R into my laptop so I can stream with the high quality picture. Now, I'll tell you about the capture card and how to set it up in just a moment, but I just want to note that you don't need the Canon EOS R. You don't need this exact model. But I didn't want to go and buy a whole nother one, right? I just used the one that I have. So if you have a mirrorless camera or another DSLR, just get a capture card and you can convert the signal into your laptop. Of course, you can record with your built-in webcam. It's not terrible, just make sure you have some good lighting, but it's just softer and it doesn't look as professional, right? That's why a lot of streamers use the capture card conversion to have a more high quality look. All right, so let me break down my setup here. In front of me, I have the Manfrotto Be-Free tripod that the Canon EOS R is on. And I like this tripod because it's very portable and mobile, and I can essentially use it to travel with, but it's also great just to leave here because I don't like having to reset up my setup, and I know that it's a sturdy and it's a good brand. Next, let's talk about the lens. So you can have a good camera, but you also need a good lens. And when it comes to live streaming and you're in smaller spaces, I have like a small to medium sized studio space, and I need to have a wide angle lens so that way I can have more real estate because I can have my camera closer and it's not, you know, like just recording my eyeball. So I have the 35mm fixed lens, so it's not a zoom lens. I just stick it here. It can go down to a 1.8 aperture, which basically like blurs the background a bit, makes it a little bit more cinematic, and I'm nice and fresh and focused, and I can create some more distance between my background. In terms of battery, you want to make sure you have lots of batteries, or you get one of those adapters so you can plug in the battery to the outlet so you don't have to worry about the battery dying while you're live streaming. On top of my Canon EOS R, I have plugged in an on-camera monitor by Andy Cine. It's a 4K 6-inch. It's on the cheaper end. I didn't need a super expensive one. I just needed one that I could just hook up and just quickly glance up and be like, okay, everything's good, let's record. So this one runs for about $150, but there are way more expensive ones that come with a lot of different features. Now, the interesting thing about the on-camera monitor here is that I actually cannot use it when I'm live streaming because it takes an HDMI feed from my camera, and there's only one. And the reason why I can't use it is I need to put the HDMI feed into my capture card to convert it into a webcam. So this capture card is called August, which is ironic because it's the month of August right now that I'm filming this. Basically, you plug it into your computer via USB. If you don't have the standard USB, you can get one of those adapters because my MacBook Pro here only has USB-C, so you can get one of the dongles, plug it in, and then you're going to put in the HDMI in because you're sending the feed into your computer. So this one is on the cheaper end. It's about $54 and it does a great job. You can also get Elgato's capture cards, which are very reliable, but they're a bit more expensive, about $99. So I just plugged in the HDMI cable into my capture card here. And remember, you're going to need to get a cable that goes from micro HDMI to HDMI because micro HDMI is what my Canon EOS R takes. So just be mindful that you're going to need to get a separate cable to make this work. and then you're going to plug in the USB into the computer. Now the microphone that I'm using is actually my Rode NT USB, which I have right here. This is a great microphone. It's super cheap too. It's 99 bucks and I use it all the time. My microphone is on an arm mount, so I'm able to reposition it in frame, which you have to buy separately, but they're pretty cheap and they pretty much last forever. Even more important than audio is lighting to illuminate your face and create depth. So I have a key light above me. It's a Seroy C60B for bicolor. So I can change the color temperature between Kelvin so I can make it more like daylight. Right now I have it at about 5,300 kelvins, which is just a little above the window of daylight. And I have it only set at 37% strength, so this thing can get a lot brighter. And my camera settings right now are 1/50, 2.0 aperture, and ISO at 250. And this is important too. The reason why I have the aperture at 2.0 is that it lets in more light and it makes the background more blurry. But to be able to see the background, I also have a light back here that you can visibly see, and I have another light just like it, another softbox on the right. And these two softbox are cheaper. I got like a newer set for like 60 bucks on Amazon, and they work great. I just plug them in and I can change out the bulb every, 5 years or so. They last that long. And by the way, I'll put the link to all the gear that I talk about in my description box below. All right, so now I'm inside of my Riverside studio, and you can see that I have many different recordings here. But I'm gonna go into my studio here just to show you how to set up your camera. So you can, put in your name. You can say that you're wearing headphones or not. If you're not wearing headphones, it helps reduce that echo. And then over here, you can see it's using my built-in webcam, which we don't want. We want it to use the capture card. And you can see mine comes up as FHD capture. Yours might look different. So now I have my nice camera angle, and you can see when I look into my camera right now, and then you can just join the studio. And the reason why I'm using Riverside is because this is the platform that I've been using to record remote interviews, and also the platform when I'm invited to go on podcasts. So if you're going to invite somebody else into your stream, you can just copy this link and invite them as a guest. You can also invite them as an audience just to watch. The guest can actually join your call with the camera, and producer to help, fine-tune the settings while you're doing the live stream, which is really, really great. You can also invite via email. So let's just go ahead and let's close this off. Of course, down here we can click on record, but before we start to record, let's go up here and let's click on this new little icon here, a live stream. So you can see that you can actually stream on Riverside now, which is really cool. But you can also stream to these other platforms here simultaneously. But first you need to connect them, of course. So if you click on YouTube, you need to put in your stream URL and your stream key. You can see that I do not have this on here because it is sensitive information. You don't want to give this information to anybody else because then they will be able to actually stream to your YouTube channel. So I've put an article down below that details where to find your stream key. It's in your YouTube channel settings, and it's really easy to do. And then once you have that information in here, you would click on connect. There's also more settings. If you click on the little gear icon, you can go to live stream, and you can also connect your destinations here, and then you can choose your streaming resolution. I have it set to 1080p. You can also hide the watermark, which we have enabled, and you can also enable the live stream chat to integrate all the comments from the different platforms that you're streaming to, which is really, really useful so you can see them all in one place. Also, some cool little stylistic things that you can do. In the lower left corner, you can see that I have my little Premiere Gal icon. I can also say, content creator. You can try different styles by clicking on more styles. You can try classic, edgy, bold, clean, fun. I like the fun one. You can have it fit or fill the whole frame here. You can also see that I have the news flash theme. You can try different themes for the entire studio, which is kind of nice. You can go through and change these different looks just to get a different feel for what is going on inside of your studio, which is really great.